was great. We were just talking in the locker room, catching up. I haven't talked to him in a long time. It was obviously we've both grown up a lot since then, so like seeing him now it's kind of crazy. But I texted him the other day and was like, basically we talked when he was getting drafted, and he mentioned like he wanted to come down to Jacksonville and, you know, of course go somewhere with some familiar faces, and we hadn't talked since then. So I texted him and said, well, you're down here, probably not how you would have imagined it, but we're back together. So no, I'm excited. He's a great guy. Excited to get him in the building, and a good addition for us, and yeah, it'll be fun.
How much different is this offseason for you? Just not having to rehab, you're not learning new coaches. How much more can you do?
Yeah, a lot different. I think just from you know, training, I guess physically first and foremost, it's a lot better not having to recover from a surgery and injury and trying to get back just to where you can train like normal and throw and do all the things that you want to do. So, you know, that's obviously a plus, being able to just start my training and be healthy back in, you know, February. And then I'd say the mental part of it too is not having to completely relearn a new system. Like that's a bonus as well, because you can really fine tune some of the things and you can get into more of the details instead of just trying to learn stuff for the first time. You're a lot further along. So starting today, I feel like obviously we're a lot further ahead than we were last year. A lot of work to be done, and you know, we got to build a bunch of chemistry. We got new guys, and there's a lot of guys to get up to speed. But as far as I think our core and guys that were here, the comfort level with the offense, with each other, the chemistry, all that stuff is a nice carryover. But you still got to go and, like I said, put the work in this year.
You mentioned the chemistry. How important is this time of year for just kind of building that team chemistry?
Super important. You know, there's all the rules and guidelines and all the stuff where you can't practice competitively against each other for a while. So that's the best time, I think, to have that structure in practice where it's all about fundamentals, technique, you know, as far as all the stuff that we can control in offense, the operation, making sure we're clean, operating quickly, and doing all that stuff at the line of scrimmage, and practicing all the things that, you know, when you do start to practice against each other and get competitive, that some of that stuff can kind of slip a little bit. So I think now is the time to hone in on all the details and kind of iron out all the stuff in our system and get guys along that might need some help as far as they're learning for the first time or whatever it is. There's a lot of chemistry thrown too. Think about routes and timing. And, you know, now's kind of the best time to do all that before it gets really competitive and you're going against each other.
You mentioned some of the prep stuff, but how helpful is it just knowing you kind of know how Liam operates, you kind of know what the schedule looks like going in this go around?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, is just when it's your first time with the new staff and new players, coaches, all those things. When it's all new, there is a level of just discomfort, I would say, and you don't really know how things are going to go or what the schedule's going to be, and you haven't built the relationships yet with all the new staff to where you know each other really well. And I think now that we've had a year of working together, there is that comfort in the relationship piece of it and being excited to be back just because you know these guys and I've worked with them, and just excited to get back in the building and work on all the things I know we need to work on and get better and improve. And I think we're all on the same page as far as we know what we need to do, and we have a lot of work to get there, but we have this optimism about, you know, the work we're going to put in the future. And I think all that stuff's exciting. And this time a year ago, it's all new, and you're trying to figure out, learn each other, and learn the system and all that stuff.
How odd was it not having Travis here today after so many years for you?
Yeah, you know, definitely weird. You know, we got a great running back room outside of Travis. Obviously, those guys are awesome, and our team is really a tight group. But for sure, tough not having Travis. You know, I've talked about it, I think, before. But happy for him, and you know, that situation, and just happy for him. He deserves everything he's gotten. So I think it's a good thing for him and his family. But yeah, definitely we're at 8 years, so gonna miss that guy. But you know, life keeps going, and I know he's looking forward to the opportunities he's going to get in New Orleans, and you know, we got a great group that we got to work with here, and we're going to be just fine, but definitely miss that guy.
James and Liam.
So that was something I was like, wow, I've known him for 8 years, and I think what happened was I came in a year after him at Clemson, and I guess he told all of them his freshman year, but I wasn't there. I was still in high school, so when I came in, I guess he just conceded that it was going to be ETN instead of HN. Is that what it is?
HN.
Yeah, so I was like, I've known him for 8 years and didn't even know that. So, anyways, yeah, I guess he didn't mind too much.
With the Trayvon getting paid, James has talked about just how his toughness stood out to his teammates. As somebody who plays on the other side of the ball, is that something that you can kind of see that he just kind of commands and brings?
Yeah, I think even, playing different sides of the ball, you're not necessarily talking game plan and working with each other through the week and the season, but you see all those things, and being around him now for 4 years, I mean, just that's something that all of us know about him, and that he plays the right way, and just to keep a guy like that around, I think is the right thing for our team, and just the right thing to do because of the energy he brings, the way he works. He's one of the hardest workers on our team, great player, has the right attitude, he's a great teammate. So I think he fits has all the traits that you want for a guy that obviously you're going to pay a lot of money to, and that's going to be here for a while. So I was really happy to see that, just happy for him, and he's a great player. I think his best football is ahead of him too. I mean, I got all the faith in the world in him, so I'm excited that we get to be together for a little longer.
Is there a specific area of your game that you're looking to grow in year two? Obviously, you said last year there was so much newness and recovering from the injury and all that. Is there something specifically you think you can grow this year?
Yeah, I think there's always, I've talked about in the past, there's always little things technique-wise, whether it's footwork, movement in the pocket. Looking over at the season, I think I got a lot better. Some of my footwork that I changed throughout the offseason last year, as the season went on, it just takes a lot of reps. And then the game reps too, it changes a little bit. And I got more comfortable as the season went on, and I thought that got a lot better. And then some of the pocket movements as well, just being poised in the pocket, subtle movements, staying in a position to throw. I also think that got better as the season went on, but there's a lot of clips where I know I can improve and get better. I'd say just the consistency piece of it. I felt like as an offense and personally, individually, kind of hit our stride towards the end of the season, but just putting that together for 17 weeks plus, playoffs, and being able to do that consistently down the stretch to win these big playoff games. You look at all those things and just excited for the opportunity to put together an even bigger stretch of good football for, our offense, our team. And I think that's the challenge, right? Is doing it every week, and just excited for that opportunity.
This draft week, what do you remember about your draft night, and what advice do you have for guys who are kind of going through that?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great weekend for all the guys that get drafted, and just the opportunities that you get to kind of, it's a cool experience. You're around your family and coaches, and everybody does a little bit different, but family and coaches and all the people that mean a lot to you, and such a big moment of, years and years of work, and it's not even, for me, it wasn't the dream necessarily to be an NFL player when I was 5. Like, I just loved football, and then, woke up when I was at Clemson as a 21-year-old and found myself with the opportunity to get drafted and come here to Jacksonville, and it almost feels like a dream just because you've worked so hard for so long, and then you're here. Obviously, it's just the beginning, so there's a lot more work to put in, but I think celebrating that moment is huge, especially with your family, and a lot of people make a lot of sacrifice. I think that's the biggest thing is it's not just about the player, it's the families and the coaches and all the people that believed in you and sacrificed for you to get there. That's the cool part.
Hey Trevor, having Grant Udinski back, even if he wasn't back, he would have had the same offense, but does it help the install go quicker, and since you guys know each other so well?
Yeah, me and Grant have a great relationship. I've talked a lot in here with you guys about just what he means to our offense, our team, and the way he operates, and I love that guy. I got so much faith and belief in him and how he works and just how smart he is. I know he's made me a better player, so I'm really excited he's back, and he brings a lot of value to our team. So yeah, we just started today, kind of did some intro stuff, so we haven't got into the weeds of the installs yet, but just excited to get into that. I know he talked about today, they work all offseason, the coaches, to kind of get ready for all of us to come back, because that's what they love doing is coaching. So I'm excited to see all the things that we're going to talk about this offseason, all the wrinkles and adjustments that we can make.
And then you got Jacoby Myers, he had to jump right in last year mid-season.
Yeah.
What does the next couple months allow you to maybe experiment with that you weren't able to do last year?
I think just, for him being able to be here with the guys through a whole off season to get that work, one, me and him, that chemistry to continue to build on that. We had to try to pick it up mid-season, which is a lot of credit to him. He was really easy to get in sync with, and he was super hard worker, so we got it going pretty quickly, but that can be hard to do. So now to have a full off season together, and I think just the relationship piece to be able to hang out with, his teammates and get to spend time together and, you know, have the weekends and be here and get to know your teammates. I think that's a big piece of it too. And get comfortable where you're living. He moved here in November and just came and played with us, I guess, a few days later in Houston. So it's kind of a crazy quick turnaround. So I think he's probably, you have to ask him, but I'm sure he's probably excited to kind of settle in and get this offseason program to really get some good work in, but also get to know his teammates a little better.
You improved by 9.1 points a game last year, almost 28. Yet, talk to Liam and he'll say you can get better at the screen, more consistent running, better on third down. Where can this offense go this year? And do you have a number in mind, points per game? Is that something you ever think about?
Not really. You know, that's not something I've thought about as far as our offense, how many points per game we're going to score necessarily. I mean, I think as many as possible is always kind of the goal. Every game's different, you know. Of course, you want to improve every year, so we want to think that number's going to be higher this year. And you look at our season, like I talked about earlier, we got so much better towards the end of the season. So if we can put ourselves in a position and use this offseason to get better at the things we need to get better at and continue to do the things well that we were doing well at the end of the year, you'd like to think that average will go up because we didn't start the season scoring as many points as we did at the end of the season. So, like I said, for when asked about me individually, what I want to get better at, it's also for our offense is having that consistency throughout the whole season. You know, obviously every week is a little bit different. You might only need to score, 20 to win, but there's going to be weeks where you need to score 35 to win. So I think being able to do whatever you need to do to win is the most important. All right, thanks guys.
Thanks
Good to be back.